Today's episode of CHGO Bulls, we are talking about 10 stats that define the first 10 games of the Bulls season, plus some questions from our Discord subscribers. That and more on CHGO Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bam! BAWL Sports.
Bam!
Will, the GOAT, Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed. Will_Gottlieb. Our queen on the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy, producer. How about that cold open from GOAT just now? How about that?
Pretty good.
A man of many talents.
Wow.
That's your job from now on.
We'll talk.
Every cold open that we now have to do, that's on GOAT. even when you're at the United Center for home games, we're gonna make you call in and do the cold open for pregame.
I'll be scrambling to post the victory cat on Twitter and then also doing the cold open at the same time.
You can do it.
We're on Blue Sky Social.
Oh, I am
Blue
now
Sky.
officially a member of Blue Sky Social as of today.
Congratulations.
As are you, right, Dave?
Yes, I am. I'm on there. As
Find
is
us.
Will. Will is on there as well.
Find us.
We are
Find
there.
us. Oh,
Find us.
GOAT's already,
I don't know what's happening, but I'll take it.
GOAT's already got himself following over there on Blue Sky.
Proud of you, man.
Come join us.
Come join us over there. Guys, lots of fun stuff to get to today. As GOAT just said in his beautifully articulate cold open, we're talking
It was okay.
about some very interesting stats and trends through the Bulls' first 11 games. I think we're going to pull from GOAT's column that he wrote the other day, so it's technically their first 10 games, but still a decent sample size of the Chicago Bulls. What do we think is a legitimate trend? What do we think is something that will maybe correct closer to the means or the norm or regress in some ways? Or what are trends that might continue on in the way that they are?
Mhm.
And on top of that, we're going to pull from some of our wonderful diehards in that CHGO Diehards Only Discord, having revisited some of their predictions about stats and trends this season, and also some unanswered questions that still remain in the Bulls, 70-so games to go. So that's all I had. Before that, though, wanted to give y'all a quick word of notice that Part 2 Bulls Cavs coming up this Friday. We're going to be doing our first live CHGO Bulls watch-along of the season. Of course, those lovely watch-alongs that are a lot of fun presented by Coors Light. Bulls Cavs on Friday night. We will be live from our studios here, streaming on our CHGO Sports YouTube channel for the duration of that Bulls Cavs contest. Bulls looking for some revenge. Will the Cavs still be undefeated when they face them on Friday? We'll find out. Either way, we're going to be here hanging out from start to finish. And then in addition to that, of course, our live post-game show as normal. So make sure you're hanging out. Clear your schedule on Friday night. You can do anything you want, but what you should want to do is hang out and watch a Bulls game with your fellow diehard fans and us. We'll be here on YouTube, live watch along presented by Coors Light. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We gotta go to the Garden and play the Knicks tomorrow night. Anytime someone says the word Knicks, Big Dave groans or does something similar to groaning.
Yeah, don't like them. So
Uncle Will was telling stories about playing at the Garden the other day, and you were like,
is that how I did it?
yeah.
Nice.
That was a great Dave impression.
Thank you.
Pretty good, man. I'm proud of you. Good job.
I have a lot of different Dave impressions.
Yes.
Grumpy Knicks one I love.
Grumpy Knicks Dave is pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. I can't get my voice up there.
I don't know why I tend to identify with and embrace the impressions of Big Dave when he's being a grump.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because I tend to be a grump? I don't know.
Yeah, people tend to want what they are. You know what I mean? Which is why when people get around me, they're like, why are you so happy and joyful all the time? Because I'm not. It's like, hey, I got to be me, man. Shout out Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr.
Indeedy.
Got to be me.
All right, guys. So let's dive into these stats because there's some fascinating ones, and all of you CHGO diehards out there would be able to and can, if you haven't already, read through all of these, including Will's thoughts. But we're gonna dip into some of them on today's show. Mm-hmm. Just the latest reason you should become a diehard if you aren't already. Let's go with the 3-point percentage, not by the Bulls, but by their opponents, and particularly in the fourth quarter of games. Could the Bulls be getting a little bit lucky right now? Because, Goat, as you noted, opponents shooting just 32.5% on threes against them, which is the fourth lowest mark in the league in fourth quarters. Above the break threes, opponents shooting only 31.5%. That's the third lowest mark in the league. And in the corners, 35.1%, 10th lowest. Do you expect this to sort of regress to the mean because the Bulls have maybe gotten a bit lucky with their opponents being a bit cold, especially in some of these games where the Bulls have been able to make comebacks?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, whenever you look at, especially with these early season stats, or when you're looking at a small segment of a season and you see, oh, this team's a lot better on defense than I thought they were going to be. Like, they've got, some poor defenders in their lineup. How are they doing this? The first thing you should look at is the opponent 3-point shooting, because I think one thing that you can do defensively is try to direct teams to take the shots that you want. And so you can inform their shot profile. But what is kind of a noisy number is going to be how they actually shoot. And so I think the Bulls are doing a much better job of eliminating those corner threes. They were really bad at that the year before, and they've gotten much better at it. They're doing a better job of forcing teams into mid-range shots and taking away the rim, not as much the rim as last year. But then you look at how teams actually perform on those, and a lot of that just has to do with luck. And so when a team is shooting over 40% on threes from a given zone or in a given quarter, and that's way different than what their numbers look like for the rest of a game, to me, that's a little bit noisy. And not to say it's wrong necessarily, but it is, I think, probably not going to remain the same. And so if teams are shooting really poorly against the Bulls in the fourth quarter on threes, that's to me something that could start to normalize. And I think if you were to look at these numbers from before the Minnesota game, when the Wolves went off in the fourth quarter, it would be a lot different than in these last two games where the Cavs and the Wolves made a ton of shots in the fourth quarter. And that's the regression we're talking about. So when teams started the season really cold, all of a sudden a couple of teams are going to get hot, and that's going to ultimately bring your average to where it's supposed to be. But, there's a lot of noise in that. There's a lot of up and down variance there.
And also what I look at the opponent as well, because the first thing that kind of came to my mind is Brooklyn. And I remember that game was kind of a back and forth game with Brooklyn. Brooklyn shoots. That's what they do. And in that fourth quarter, though, as it got closer to that end, that's when the shooters kind of came out for them and made the key ones, like Cam Thomas shooting an 80-footer and all cash out there. So, and especially in yesterday's game against the Cavs, you saw it the same way as well. You saw Donovan Mitchell kind of struggle in that third quarter and a little bit in that fourth, but when it was time, cash. You know what I mean? So I look at it that way as well. You're right. I think the Bulls caught some luck. I'm not going to say it's all luck. I'm going to give them some love on the defensive end because, again, we sat there and yelled about it a lot, about what that defense was doing last year, not guarding the three-point line at all. They more so, Billy Donovan was saying he wanted to defend to kind of take away the paint and was leaving the shooters open. I think that plays into it as well. Guys just getting in that rhythm throughout the game. So when it gets to that fourth quarter, they already know what that Bulls defense is not going to do, and that's not run out at you. So, hey, you feel a little bit more better about taking those shots. So I think I'm going to give them some credit, of changing their defense and changing their philosophy and getting up on those teams a little bit more. But I agree with you, Will. I think just as this schedule goes forward and they start playing these more shooting teams, you're going to start seeing those shots kind of start falling a little bit more. They're getting away with it right now, which is cool, but I think it's going to start falling a little later.
Our guy Rob in the comments pointing out that when it comes to fourth quarter shooting numbers, particularly, you can also look at which team is maybe playing on the second night of a back-to-back, who's got the fresh legs, because the Bulls have been on both ends of that already this early in the season. The Atlanta game, the Hawks were playing second leg of a back-to-back. The Bulls blow them out in the fourth quarter. And vice versa, the Bulls were playing the second night of a back-to-back in that game where they played the Minnesota Timberwolves really close for three quarters, and then the Wolves just steamrolled them in the fourth. So that's going to affect your fourth quarter shooting. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one could also have something to do with efficiency beyond the arc, and that's the Bulls' first quarter net rating as a team. Negative 22.0.
Is that bad?
Worst first quarter net rating among all 30 NBA teams through this first 10-game sample size.
Hey, we're number one.
And by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen how many 15, 20-point deficits already
a lot.
this season?
Yeah.
And I think Bulls fans, maybe those of us who were coming into the season with certain specific, shall we say, expectations, I'm not surprised by these big deficits. I might be less surprised than other Bulls fans, but what is the root cause of them, do we think? And is that root cause going to be something that we see not just in a 10-game sample size, but something that goes throughout the entire 82-game season?
That's an interesting question. Because, I mean, it's only been 2 quarters, including yesterday, where they finally took a lead.
They've had the lead after the first 12 minutes
Twice,
in
right?
2 of their first 11 games.
2 games.
And actually, since last night, now with 11 games, as we talked about, this was from the first 10 games they played, now 11. They have moved up to 29th.
Oh, watch out, NBA.
They have moved up to 29th. They are now negative 19.6.
Hey!
Moving on up.
And the Portland Trailblazers,
baby,
have gotten a lot worse. They're now 22.2.
Yeah. But that's a very good question. What's the root cause of something like this? I don't know if it's a change in offense or something like that. I don't know if it's a change of philosophy or anything like that with this team. I mean, Zach's coming out doing Zach things. Vooch is doing what he does. I don't know. Maybe Io not hitting his shots and having a lower percentage this year. Maybe that has something a little bit to do with it when he comes in off the bench in that first quarter. Kobe is not known to be a guy to get off to hot starts. He's more so known as like third quarter, fourth quarter kind of guy.
This is true.
So that could be a part of it as well. So I guess when you're taking more 2s than you are 3s, and I'm saying that because Vooch is the one who's dominating, that could be part of the reason why they're getting off to those starts.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here, and it's like, I don't think it's really shot making. Like, their effective field goal is slightly better in general than it is in the first quarter, 54 compared to 51.4. So I think part of it is just shot making. The turnover percentage, you look at that, it's 14.6 in the first quarter, 15.7 in the entirety of games. So it's not like they're coughing up a lot of turnovers. Their pace has been relatively consistent. I think it's just probably their defense getting off to bad starts. And I think, honestly, like, I haven't looked at the lineup data, and maybe I should do that before I say this, but like, to me, I don't think that the Bulls starting lineup puts them in a very good position to succeed, because you just have 4 bad defenders out there.
Okay.
And so maybe that has something to do with it. I'll look that up now as you guys talk.
Okay.
I just thinking back on them, I definitely recall plenty of first quarters, if not a majority of them, through these first 11, where the Bulls have given up not only 30 plus, but 35, 40.
In deep holes, yes.
Yeah. That's how you build those deficits. And go in your column about these 10 specific stats. You also did make note of the fact you were talking about Io's cold shooting start to the whole season. Maybe not specifically in first quarters, but also Kobe being a third quarter guy or a fourth quarter guy. As a team, Goat noted, the Bulls are shooting just 31.5% from downtown in first quarters, compared to overall, they're shooting a very respectable 37% in their games. So Bulls starting cold, and then finding their outside shot as the game progresses.
Yeah. How about this? Okay, so right now it's very small sample size, but the lineup of Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Levine, Patrick Williams, and Vooch.
That's your starting lineup.
Your starting 5 is minus 7.1 point differential. You replace Io with Giddey, and it is plus 21.7. So that's a 29 point swing. And I think that probably is your answer right there.
Yeah, I forgot about Giddey as well, like as far as guys who don't shoot. So they don't have shooters on the floor, and mostly guys who score in the paint. Like Giddey, I'm thinking of, and obviously Vooch, I'm thinking of as well. That's tough.
Just gave Matt a migraine.
Yeah,
that's tough.
It's like there's one of those Warhead candies lodged in my brain right now when I just heard you say those numbers.
Warhead candies?
Yeah, one of those sour candies, Warheads. They were all the rage when we were kids.
I got to see them, man.
No?
And to be fair, like, I do think the Bulls starting lineup will be better. Like, part of doing this was like my takeaway. How real is this? And I think they will be better just because that's so bad. I don't think they're going to be great. But I do think they'll improve. And even the Bulls' most used lineup right now, that starting lineup, is 238 possessions total. I mean, that's just not enough to really have a huge sample size, but it is the sample that we're working with. And so you look at what they're doing, and obviously the results are not great. It's
a non-zero sample size. And we're going to pick up on that thought on the other side of this quick break, because there's another Giddey specific stat that you have in these 10-game sample size stats that are of note for Bulls fans. That's coming up next on CHGO Bulls.
Beer.
Oh, yes, sir.
Beer.
Please.
He drinks it.
I do.
And when he drinks it, he chills. He relaxes. And then he starts doing it, and then he drinks some more. And
I'm a little worked up right now. You know why? Because I don't have an icy cold Coors Light right here.
Yeah, a little bit right there. That's why you're seeing all this stuff's going on with Matt Peck. I'm sorry, man. There it is. Between throwing hats, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Thank you, Lawrence. He caught that. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the Will to Go Gottlieb and Will Purdue 4th annual karaoke house party hosted at Matt Peck's mansion?
4 hours today.
4 hours today. What's that? Or after a tough loss, settle scores with the ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill. Then choose Coors Light. It is mountain cold refreshment, because when the mountains turn blue, oh yes, you know what to do. Cold lager, cold filter, and cold package for a smoother finish. So when you embrace chill, crack open that cold Coors Light. It's that mountain cold refreshment that is crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Hurricanes. Make the most out of those times. You choose chill and choose a frosty cold Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. Because I got fast. CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Ray Chevy. With the Black Friday sales event going on all month long at Ray Chevrolet, you can score door-buster deals on your next vehicle without the door-busting stress. Head in today to shop their huge selection of new Chevy models with special Black Friday prices. Right now, you can take $3,250 up to $13,000 off MSRP on most new Chevy models. And shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the entire Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Visit our partners at Ray Chevy this November at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, you've probably also heard of that thing called the Ray's Price Promise. Their guarantee to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. His mama named him Ray. I'm going to call him Ray.
Well done.
That means the incredible prices we're talking about now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in store or online. Shop the Black Friday sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet Fox Lake, raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Boom. Beep.
Hey, Will Gottlieb was hilarious.
Did I miss something good over there?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a funny guy. It's a funny guy.
Mr. Cold Open cracking jokes over there?
Man, he's just loosey-goosey right now, baby. Loosey-goosey.
I picked the right time to choose chill.
Yes, he did. Well done. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I might need a bit more of a heavy dose of chill, because we're about to get into, as Tom and others in the comments are talking about, Giddey with this next stat. French Bulls TV, meanwhile, saying Giddey was right at media day when he said he doesn't want to be the target defensively because 3 guys next to him are either just as bad or even worse. Look, when you talk about those on-off numbers, when you talk about the Bulls getting off to these slow starts, building deficits, and that starting 5 of theirs, which, as Goat said again, has been a small sample size. Levine's missed some games with injury, but negative 18.6 is the on-off swing for Josh Giddey being on the floor for the Bulls through 10 games. I don't know if you've calculated what that is with last night's game.
It has updated. Now it's minus 15.8. He was plus 2 in last night's game. I also noted that I believe it was 449 out of 453.
That's what it has in your column, yes.
Players total.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, he did move up a little bit. I think he's 446 now. So, again, I do think he's going to improve, but the numbers are what they are. And I think that's worth looking into, especially when you are now looking at the Bulls in 2 clutch games back-to-back where Billy Donovan has gone another direction in the closing lineup.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And that is a big deal because not only does it tell you what the coach who he trusts most to be on the floor in those most important moments. But it's also the reason why Giddey wanted to leave OKC. Ooh. And it's early on in the season, but it's something to monitor.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to, every time I watch Josh Giddey play and I see what he does, I think of what Will kept saying in the offseason when they got Josh Giddey. Like, look, he's going to put up numbers. He's going to put up numbers, but those numbers within the numbers are not going to be good.
Under the hood.
You know what I mean? Under the hood. Come on with it, Will. My tribe people do that. But
can't latch the hood very well if you don't take out the can.
But dude, like, that's what you see. Like, near triple doubles every game. You see his aggression on the floor. You see his facilitation and what he does. You see the rebounding, hitting some threes, not just, killing the world with it, but hitting some threes when they're wide open to him. Like, he's been solid in that. But you would just look at the numbers and say, oh, man, he's been really, really great. And then you watch the game and you're like, oh, why does Billy have him out there on this right here? He's got to go sit down. And that's why he's sitting down, because the defense has not been good. Those teams key on Josh Giddey, and they attack him. And I mean, they attack him like over and over and over again. They don't care about his height. They don't care about his hair. They are going after that young man every time on defense, man. And usually it's success that comes with it. And the turnovers that he has also don't help as well. So, yeah, putting up those amazing numbers, looking real solid out there for the team, but too much of a liability for your head coach to say you close the game in the fourth quarter. And you're right, Will. That is definitely something to monitor going forward.
And I think, I even asked Billy about this after the game last night. Like, I didn't say, well, why did you bench Giddey down the stretch? But it was like,
hey.
So to me, it seemed like what the Cavs were doing was isolating and picking on Giddey and putting him in pick and roll and getting him switched onto Garland or Mitchell and then attacking.
Cook.
And so I asked Billy, like, what were you guys trying to do in that situation? And then after that, they're kind of doing the same thing with Vooch, and they were going to him a little bit. And like the Bulls are in a situation now where Zach is kind of like the defensive stopper on the perimeter in lineups where Io's not in.
Okay.
And obviously, like, that's not your ideal scenario, but that's just the way that this team is built. And so that's what he said. I mean, they were trying to to try to just get the ball out of the hands of the guard. But when they bring that second guard into the action, it would be like a stagger screen action where, whoever was guarding Donovan Mitchell would go screen Garland, and that person would switch on. It was Io. Mm-hmm. And then they would bring Giddey into that action as well, and then get Giddey switched onto Darius Garland, and he was just able to get into the rim. And it was the same thing when they took him out. And, you'd think, okay, great, you got Io and you got Patrick in, you can defend a little bit better now. But they're just like, no, we're going to go at Vooch, and we're going to go at Kobe. And, like, these players are good. I'm not saying, like, I don't like Giddey or I think he's not a good player, but it's just – it is a weakness of this team. And I think what Billy's going to have to do is try to figure out, are there other lineups that we can look at that help insulate Giddey? And maybe they just don't have that personnel, because I think, honestly, what you really need is an elite rim protector behind him to help, clean up some of that stuff.
Texas Ranger.
But I think, so yeah, it's not like I'm being super critical of Giddey here or saying that he is the problem or anything like that. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And obviously, his skills speak for themselves. Like, he's a very talented passer, and I think he makes guys better. Yeah. But in those moments that we're talking about, like the clutch moments, I think that is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on this year, because I think, to me, that is the biggest question when you talk about paying a guy $30 million a year. Okay, if that's starting point guard money, that's fine. But is it closing point guard money?
Oh, the bars.
That's, I think, what they have to be concerned about.
Pedro Munoz in the comments saying, what's Giddey's 3-point percentage? Seems like he's shooting well from outside. Our guy Fish quickly with the answer, saying, hey, he's shooting 43% and change from three this season.
He's hitting them.
43 on 3.4 attempts a game, which is other than his rookie year when he took 3.9, second career high.
Credit him for improving there. Like,
and he's shooting 43.2%, which is by far a career high. Yeah. Last season was his, at that point, career high at 33.7% on 3 attempts per game. Mm-hmm. Through his first 11 with the Bulls, 43.2%, 3.4 attempts. Mm-hmm. And even with Giddey making opposing defenses pay by sagging off of him when he's playing off the ball and around the perimeter, even with that added to his offensive game, the defense primarily is still what's leading, I think, to these on-off splits. And, I asked our diehards in the Discord earlier today, like, what is something that you were worried about or had a prediction about before the season started that you either feel you even more strongly about right now after watching 11 games, or maybe you've changed your mind a little bit? And this is the one that I had in mind for myself. I know you're saying it's a small sample size, Goat, and I'm cool with that. But it's a non-zero sample size that, as someone who was not a big fan of the Giddey trade when it happened, I am petrified about because of the thing you just brought up with the contract. I mean, okay, here's 11 games. And 11 more, it'll be 22 games. Are we still going to see these kinds of numbers when it comes to Josh Giddey on the floor versus off the floor and how the Bulls are faring? Are we still going to see Billy Donovan going with Io or someone else down the stretch of a close game over Josh Giddey? Is this secretly a Billy Donovan tank job when he's got Josh Giddey out there on the floor? Or I don't know. I mean, shout out to THT for those 56 seconds of tanking he did last night when the Cavs were making that comeback. Whether or not it's purposeful to have Giddey on the floor versus off the floor with the long-term goals of this team and which ones are public and which ones are secret. Just calling it like I see it.
And I think it's
Giddey
one thing,
being someone negotiating a new contract as a part of your core, as a focal part of your new young core moving forward when you're actually going to be trying to be for realsies competitive again, hopefully at some point down the not too distant road. If those are his on-off numbers, even when he's knocking down threes at a rate at which he never has before in his career, I am terrified and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think it's one thing if like the small sample is confirming your priors. Like you probably don't need as much of a sample if it's like going into the same like conclusion that you drew about this from last year. I mean, it's like what we're seeing with the Bears. Like we knew what was going to happen here. But the coaching situation, you didn't necessarily need to wait 8 games into next season to figure it out, or 9 games, whatever it was.
But still seeing it though is different.
But seeing it is different. And so to me, like when you explore, okay, what is more real, these on-off numbers or his 3-point percentage? I would say the on-off numbers, because that tracks more in line with what his career has been, as opposed to him taking this huge jump in his 3-point percentage this year, which I do think is like he is making his shots more. And
yeah, he is.
Part of that is because they're leaving him open, but I do think that he has gotten better and he will continue to get better. So I'm not. This is not like a Giddey takedown by any means, but those are what the numbers are saying.
Well, I'm glad you're calm because my blood pressure is rising.
You didn't choose chill. That's your
I did not. I don't have my Coors Light here. Coors Lights don't solve all of your problems, but
they do not.
You got to choose chill and then crack one.
That's it.
But Big Dave, you mentioned the turnovers too briefly, and I think it was our guy Drew from the Bigs,
shout out,
who was talking with y'all in the locker room to Josh Giddey. I think he posted a video on Twitter today about like Giddey talking about this team's turnover problem and saying, hey, this fast-paced offense that we play, turnovers are going to be a part of it.
He did say this.
And Zach LaVine has 2 7-turnover games to his name, but Giddey has also been contributing turnovers, and Drew did some digging and broke down the different types of turnovers, and in the category of bad pass turnover, as in like not necessarily a forced turnover, Giddey is among the lead leaders out of the gate in bad pass turnovers.
That part. Yeah, because thank you. And I'm glad he clarified that, because that was my first statement out of my mouth when I watched that video. It was like, dude, there is a difference between just a turnover and a bad turnover. And we saw some of them yesterday in the fourth quarter. Saw the Bulls have some bad turnovers that led to them losing that game against Cleveland. But Josh Giddey, if you watched him also in the Olympics and how good he was doing those same kind of turnovers. He was having those same kind of bad turnovers when he was playing for the hometown team. So the numbers were great. The aggression was great. Him going to the bucket was cool. But then sometimes he would just really make bad turnovers. There was no point for that behind the back.
When you see an NFL QB throw a pick that was like, why did you throw that
ball
there?
You staring down the receiver. They see you staring down the receiver.
Shout out Drake May. That pick.
Oh my God.
The only bright spot of that Bears-Pats game on Sunday.
Like just a horrible pick.
It was Drake May just being like, here, Bears, have the football.
Oh, TJ, I got you. Go long. Here you go, buddy. Oh, you're not on my team. Sorry. So, yeah, man, like you see him making those kind of turnovers. That also leads to why you're not on the floor in the fourth quarter. So forget your defense. You turn the ball over and you make bad turnovers when you do it. I don't want to have you on the floor in that position to do that in that fourth quarter when we're trying to win the game.
Indeed. We got to take one more quick break. When we come back, we will continue moving on with some of these numbers through the Bulls' first 11 games, what they mean, whether or not these trends will continue. And beyond that, we're going to get to some thoughts, predictions, and questions from our diehards in that Discord. That's next. Stick around.
Man, I tried to talk ComEd with Lawrence.
Oh, yeah?
He didn't want to talk to me about it.
He didn't want to talk to you about it.
He said you got to go to dinner and stuff.
Lawrence always has somewhere to be.
Always busy.
Lawrence is always busy doing something.
He knows
Lawrence never has any time for us.
He knows I'm so excited to talk ComEd.
That was for you.
Do you want to talk ComEd with me?
I would love to talk ComEd with you. I would love nothing more.
I'm so good. Because you know, Matt.
I mean, other than like a good slice of pizza and a beer.
Yeah,
but
beer. You know, choose chill, kids. Because 21 and over. ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient.
You kidding me? I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know ComEd did that.
They sure do. The energy efficiency program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
Wow. So what do businesses have to do to capitalize on those savings?
Just sign up for a free facility assessment at ComEd.com/biz, B-I-Z.
It's really that simple. But if it's that simple, then why are more businesses doing it, Dave?
I don't know, man. Maybe driven sometimes, but maybe they forgot the website.
Forgot the website. Maybe they forgot the website?
Yeah.
ComEd.com/biz? ComEd.com/biz? ComEd.com/biz?
I mean,
how do you forget that website?
You do it. But they did it. But you won't anymore. Shout out to them. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law.
Whoop, whoop. Today's show also brought to you by Prize Picks.
Prize Picks.
The best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash, y'all. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is also, to their credit, I love this, the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy.
Whoa.
That means your lineups stay intact. They stay in play, even if one of the players in your lineup gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half of their game and does not return, Prize Picks keeps the rest of that lineup live for you. How many times have you been playing DFS and you pull your hair out because a player leaves and it's a star player who's going to go do star player things, but tweaked an ankle in the first quarter and it's busted for you? At Prize Picks, they've taken care of it.
Shout out.
Prize Picks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. They make it easy for you to find ways to win, even if you don't 100% win.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what you do. Download the app today. Use promo code CHGO, and you will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And it doesn't even matter if that $5 lineup hits or misses or partially hits. Doesn't matter. Play a $5 lineup. You get an extra $50 bonus instantly just by using promo code CHGO at sign up. And when you play that first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Carrying on a Tuesday, no Bulls action, but CHGO Bulls action. Hi-diddly-ho.
Hi-diddly-ho.
Talking through some numbers.
Hi-diddly-ho.
Some encouraging, some worrying, some downright devastating in my condition. Small sample size. Small sample size. The one that we wanted to get to next kind of coincides with Josh Giddey being here. The Bulls dealing with some turnovers. But to their credit, doing something that they said they wanted to do for a long time and finally doing it. And that is playing faster offense. I did find it fascinating, though, that you broke it down by how fast did the Bulls play in the preseason? 5 games. How fast did they play in the first 5 games of the regular season? And how fast did they play in the second 5 games of their regular season? Because they're playing real fast, but it's already starting to taper off a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, preseason, 5 games, 110 pace.
Ooh, bonkers. That's
Super
110
fast.
possessions per 48 minutes.
Correct. During the first 5 games of the year, that went down from 110 to 107.5. So still extremely fast. Still fastest in the league by several possessions per 48 minutes. But then during the second 5 games. So between game 6 and game 10, they're down to 102.9, which was 4th. And so still much faster than last year.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, like, are they going to wear themselves down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Are we already seeing that even just through 15 games, including preseason, where they're just not going to be able to keep up that extreme level of pace?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, what does that mean? Because I think their superpower was they were just running teams off the floor.
Yeah.
And they were making teams so tired that they couldn't play offense. I mean, that was insane, the way that they were doing that through the first couple of games. And if they don't have that, you know, they're still going to be getting up in transition. One thing I think they've done really well is run on made shots. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I was looking at it again. They are the 4th fastest team in the league running off of made shots. So that's great. But, you know, if they're, as we talk about, like, their margin is not big, right? And so if their biggest strength is their ability to play fast and that shrinks, the margin gets even smaller. And so how does that look for the rest of these, you know, 71 more games? Are they able to ramp that back up? Are there different lineups they can try? Is it just like a commitment to playing that way? I mean, I don't know. Or is it just physically not possible because that's just so ridiculously fast?
Yeah, it's ridiculously fast. I don't know if it's physically possible enough for them to do this for 82 straight games. But like you said, to their credit, they've done it very well. You saw them working on it a lot on the clips that we would see from their practices. They worked on that a ton. And Billy Donovan definitely talked about it and stressed it because he knew it. I said even before all that, when the regular season, I was like, this is how they're going to have to play. They're going to have to run. They're going to have to be out there doing it. But there's a difference between running and then running with a purpose. So if you're just out there going back and forth and, you know, not doing nothing, you get those bad Benny Hill possessions that Stacey King likes to talk about, where they're just running around. Like, what do you say?
From lighthouse to lighthouse, like Forrest Gump.
Yo, man, I think I'll go home now. But, yeah, man, like, it's fine now, and I feel like it fits them now. And they have the guys on their team to do it, including the big men to do it, because Vooch is showing you that he has no problem getting up and down the floor. Jalen Smith is showing you that he definitely has no problem getting up and down the floor. You got guys like Dalen Terry, Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, like Josh Giddey. Like, you have all these guys who are going to run. But once you get down there, what do we do? You know, and that's where it comes into fruition right there for me. What do you do once you get down there? Who gets the ball? Because then you have to run an offense once you get down the other side of the floor. I mean, Phoenix Suns, obviously the first team that comes to mind in the way that they played. You know, 8 seconds or less, I think, that they wanted to get a shot off, get down and get a shot off and get back.
I think it was 13, but even still.
But even still, it's still crazy. Yeah, I thought it was.
Was it?
I thought it was 7.
That's wild.
But and Steve Nash and that's what they did, up and down that floor all the time. But again, they had a purpose when they got up and down because they had a pure point guard.
Oh, you were talking about the Nash D'Antoni Suns.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I thought you were talking about the Bulls, Levine and Giddey and them talking about their unofficial training camp that they held for themselves.
No.
They were talking about condensing their shot clock.
No, not them. Definitely not. But yeah, I'm saying that in contrast because when Phoenix did it, you saw it was with a real purpose.
Yeah.
And again, it's a tough comparison because we're talking about a 2-time MVP. And along with a guy like Amari Stoudemire, who was just a physical specimen at that point in time, and a guy like Sean Marion and the rest of those guys. But still, that is the premise of what they're trying to do out there on the floor. Get up and down, score quick, get back on defense, you know what I'm saying? Hassle some of the ball handlers when they're getting back. If they miss or if they hit, doesn't matter. We're back down on the other end of the floor, and somebody's getting a shot up. The issue is you don't shoot great from the three-point line. You pretty much got one guy who's got an interior game, and that's Vooch. And outside of Zach, it's a little hard to find people on your team. Zach and Kobe, I should say. A little hard to find guys out there who are going to create their own shot for you once they get that ball and they're moving that fast. So they're doing the pace right, but everything else has to also come together. Also, I like the fact that this just says 105.2 pace. Like, it just sounds like a radio station in my head. 105.2 the pace.
Mixed jams.
Weenie in the butt.
But I think just to kind of drive this point home, like, as you're kind of talking about, they don't really have somebody that can create half-court offense.
Yeah.
And so when you compare it to last year, that, like, this is really reductive. But it was like, that was quality, right? And now what they're trying to do is quantity.
Yes.
They're trying to get as many possessions in.
Correct.
So it's like, last year they tried to win the possession battle by not turning it over, by being super efficient with their shots, by getting offensive rebounds. This year, they're trying to win the possession battle by having more possessions.
Yes.
And they haven't done that in a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Billy has said it a couple of times. Like, they've been they've lost the field goal attempts battle in several of these games so far. And so if that margin gets even smaller, they have to make up for that in other ways, or they're just going to get swallowed up. Like they're just not going to be able to compete. And so basically they're using this pace as a means to give themselves, more volume of shots. And if you have more volume of shots, even if you don't shoot as many or shoot as well, I should say, you still have a chance to get more points up because you're taking more shots.
Yes, sir.
And so that is really the formula for the Bulls this year. And if they're not able to sustain that pace, I think life becomes very difficult for them.
Okay, we got 20 minutes left. I want to shift and get to some of the predictions and then also questions from our diehards that are sort of related to these early season trends. And we don't want to spill all the beans here. So that was 4 or 5 of the stats that broke down in this column from yesterday about the Bulls' early season returns. If you
11.
want the rest of them, sign up to become a diehard. If you are a diehard, way to be, go read it.
Yeah, my 2 of my favorite ones that I wrote, we did not talk about. So you should go check those out.
Well, can I guess which ones they are? Also, while I'm guessing, y'all hit that like button, please. Do it for Katie. Do it for Troll Joe, wherever he is. Troll Joe's on a business trip, I'm sure.
Wow.
Collecting more thumbs across the
He's
nation.
either there or at the United Center and not swinging by here, which is right by the United Center.
Never let it go.
Is Lonzo one of your favorite ones?
No, that was not the one I was thinking of, but there is a good one on Lonzo.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my number 1 favorite one is
it the Wins one?
the Wins one.
The Wins one's really good.
That one was my best one.
Spoiler alert. We're not going to spoil it here. You got to go read it.
Plus, there were some good bonus stats. I don't know.
I was
think
about
this
to
was
say
good.
my favorite one was one of the bonus stats that you had.
Bonus stats. There's some bonus stats in there about Io. There's some bonus stats
Yeah.
in there about Kobe. Guys, this is great stuff from the
The
GOAT.
bonus stat, like that one was
Only
great.
I thought you
diehards
did.
can
I thought you
was
read it.
great.
That's a Zach LaVine one you're talking about.
Yeah, that was great. That was.
There's some good ones in here.
So go read it if you are a diehard. If you aren't a diehard, experience that FOMO for a second and then go sign up to be a diehard and then go read it when we're done with today's show.
I know you can do something about it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get to some of the diehard Discord. Speaking of diehards and the cool people among Chicago sports fans,
The coolest.
This is what I asked for earlier today in the Discord.
So
what
we
prediction or take that you had before the season are you more convinced of now that we've seen 11 games? Or what's the biggest question you still have about this season or the future of this team that the Bulls haven't answered for us yet? So, shout out to our guy Strick. Let's kick off with him. Ace Strick is that handle for him in the Discord where the cool people live. His prediction was we're going to be around 500.
Okay.
Bulls are 4-7 now after last night's loss. So, hey, could be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if any in-season trades happen. But Strick, why would you predict that the Bulls are going to be around 500 when you could just predict that they're going to be 3 games under 500? Because as we learned last season, painstakingly so, ever gruelingly, sometimes they're 2 under, sometimes they're 4 under. But Chase and Ashland, where you at? They are always 3 games under 500, as they are right now.
That was the rule. That was definitely the rule.
But look, I think plenty of Bulls fans said, I think this team's going to be better than we think, and they could flirt with being 500. Strick is, I think, not alone in that prediction.
I'm not with that. I still think that they're going to be a bad team. I look at how they won. I think that's what I was looking at more so than anything was how they won. When you played Memphis, you did it without John Morant. When you played Orlando, they did it without Paolo in the second half. Now, the one straight up, I mean, the Atlanta game, me and Matt believe that Atlanta kind of just gave that to them.
Yeah. That was a Hawks L more than a Bulls W.
For me, the true legit win was playing Milwaukee Bucks. Like that, they for real came out and whooped their ass. That was the legit win. So if I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's the legit win? Is you whooped on a 2-18 right there? All right. I'm like, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out Daniel Gabbard.
You know what I mean? Yeah. What do you feel about it? Yeah. He cool. But yeah, that's how I feel about it when I look at the wins and break them down that way.
So
what do you see?
I don't disagree with you that I think that the Bulls are overachieving a little bit in terms of record right now. I don't think they're a very good team, but I also think that they aren't that much worse than any of these other teams in the East. Like, the East is so bad. We were talking about it last night at the game. Like, I wonder what's the worst record that any 3 seed has ever had in the Eastern Conference, and I guarantee you, whatever it is, this year's team is going to beat that record. Like, these teams aren't good, and there's probably going to be.
Is it going to be the 2-8 Bucks?
11 teams in the West who are above 500, and I bet you there's going to be like 3 or 4 in the East.
Okay, so in the West,
kind of crazy.
In the West right now, the Mavericks are currently in the 11th spot and out of the play-in tournament at 5-5.
It's insane.
In the East, the Hawks are in 11th at 4-7. At 5-5, if they were in the East, the Mavericks would be tied with the Pacers for the 3rd seed. Conferences are fun.
They are. And the Bulls haven't even really gotten that West Coast swing yet going. So they're still.
Also, they've played OKC. They've played
Memphis.
Minnesota,
which is, technically a Western Conference team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dallas.
Oh, right. And they went to Dallas.
And they're going to play Houston, on Sunday?
That's true.
But yeah, there's some waxing that can still happen.
There's some beatings coming, man.
Well, here's the thing. Like, people keep saying, oh, look at the schedule. It's not getting any easier. And it's like, well, yeah, because when you're not as good a team as all the other teams, your schedule is not going to look easy ever because all these teams are really good. And that's kind of my point, though, is that I don't think that any of these teams are actually very good. I think they're all just okay. And so I think the Bulls are going to hang around and maybe overachieve, at least relative to how we thought they would perform in the East.
Okay.
Because I just don't think any of these teams are really that good. And injuries are playing a huge role in this, obviously.
Yes.
But I just think that's going to give the Bulls breathing room. And I think, that's going to play into their record total.
Okay. Strick also had a question. What unanswered questions remain for the Bulls fans? And this was funny because it went back and forth in the Discord with people having differing opinions. We don't have to spend too much time on it because there's plenty of time to talk Cooper Flagg between now and next May. But
Will's got an article written.
Strick said, why is everyone so high on Cooper Flagg? He's an athletic rim protector, but not a bucket getter. Sounds like Tyrese Thomas 2.0.
Oh, I know they went in on you.
To me.
I know they went in on you, bro.
That's really the comp you're going with, Strick, who just referred to himself.
I love Tyrese Thomas.
As optimistic.
He was a fan. Will was definitely a fan.
I like his username, though. Optimistic.
Optimistic.
Cooper Flagg, not a bucket getter.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Strick.
He'll get you 20.
That dude get buckets, bro.
People are already, now that the college basketball season is underway, starting to talk about, like, hey, he's not even the best player on his Duke team. I'm like,
this draft is loaded. Just saying.
I think Cooper Flagg is really good and going to be a really good NBA player.
Yeah, I do too.
I would like the Bulls to have the highest odds possible at getting him.
I just want the pick.
More than I want them to be flirting with being a 500 team this season.
I want the pick.
Dear God, the blood pressure.
Oh, God. Get this man a Coors. Stat.
Why is our beer fridge empty?
Yeah, I don't see the Tyrese Thomas 2.0.
Believer in Cooper Flagg?
Big time.
Yeah. I don't see the 2.0 Tyrese Thomas.
Big time.
And honestly, like, it's not even really about that. Like, I think it's just from a process standpoint, you have to be going towards talent if you are a team in need of talent, right?
Yeah,
you can't be like prioritizing these, like, to me, in a weak Eastern Conference, like, you can't be prioritizing being in the middle and getting to the play-in, especially when, to me, like, the guys who are driving the Bulls winning right now are Zach and Vooch playing like their all-star selves.
Correct.
Yeah, and they were like a plus 16 and a plus 14 respectively in their tight L to the Cavs last night.
It's not like Patrick Williams has taken the leap and he's leading the way, or
double.
But like, and not to say Patrick's playing poorly, but I just think that those guys have been really good, and I wonder, like, if you're thinking about the future, are they part of it? No, you want to trade both of them. So like, why is this driving wins? I think you have to just. And I'm not like setting the fire alarms or whatever at this point, but like, you have to stay focused on the agenda at hand.
Yeah.
And not get distracted by the shiny play-in toy that's in the way.
Which can lead us into our next Die Hard Discord question and also prediction. B-Dams92 said his biggest question for the season was how long it would take for the Bulls before trading LaVine and Vooch, as you were just discussing, Goat. The vets leading the Bulls to their competitiveness and even their wins, and others to truly start tanking for Cooper Flagg. Dear God, please let it be soon. I don't have the answer for you, B-Dams92, but I think at some point this Bulls front office has to really look themselves in the mirror and say, "What? Okay, we're X amount of games through the season. We've had preliminary gauging interest phone calls, maybe with a handful of people and a handful of teams around the league. When and what is their record when they say, all right, now I'm going to start picking up the phone and not pausing between making phone calls until we find some of these deals and pivot towards getting more minutes for this younger team and pivoting towards not purposefully tanking, but hey, we're shifting even more aggressively to youth development and a youth movement, which is not illegal and a punishable thing for an NBA team to do, let's remember.
Just want to toss
and
that
optimizing those lottery odds.
I don't think it's up to the Bulls. I think if they could trade Zach LaVine today, they would do it. It's not. I don't think it's up to them. The NBA has decided what they felt about Zach LaVine, which is why the Bulls are waiting, which is why they have no choice but to wait, because they told you.
To let him go score 11 points in the fourth quarter of a close game last night.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, they've told you what they felt. So they have, yes, if they could trade Zach now, they would trade Zach now. That's my opinion. Vooch, I don't know. But I know if they could trade Zach LaVine today and a team called them today and said, yes, we want to make a trade for him, it would be done. It honestly would be done. So I think teams are just waiting. I think this is more of a league thing than it is a Bulls thing. So let's give it a little more time. I think as you get closer to that All-Star break and those injuries start piling up, and let's say some of those injuries start healing also, and teams start saying, okay, now let's see what we got, and let's start making our run. Oh, my God, we need Zach LaVine. Like, you're just waiting for those moments to happen for them. So I think as you get closer to the trade deadline, then I think you start seeing business kind of pick up. But bottom line, yes, if they could trade him today, bro, he would be out of here today.
Probably. I think Mark Stein kind of said this when he came on our show the other night. It's just so hard to move that much money during the middle of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to me, I'm not expecting a LaVine trade to happen this year.
Nope.
I think if it happens, maybe during the offseason, just logistically makes more sense. Vooch, I think, is a separate story. He's playing really well. He's a more movable contract. But then you run into the problem of, like, okay, who's your center? Like,
James Smith.
Jalen Smith is probably going to play
no goal.
26, 28 minutes a game, but, like, you still got more backup minutes to fill, and you got to find a solution there.
Pat, small ball 5.
And I also think that, like, Vooch is really helping some of these younger players improve. Like,
sure.
I think more so than any other veteran on this team, he is contributing to player development in a way that I don't think Zach is right now. Not to criticize Zach, but just, like, his game is more oriented around himself scoring. And Vooch is a good facilitator. He's a great screener. He's helping guys get into their spots, get open. He's available to them as somebody who can score so they can pick up assists that way, and just kind of understands how to play the game. And so, like, I don't know. And I think part of it just kind of also depends on where they are in the standings. Like, if they are, I guess, like, if they are where they are right now, which is the 9th seed on January 28th. And
dry heaved. Sorry.
They're, one game out of 4th and they're one game out of 12th. Like, are they going to really trade their 2 best players? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think D. Lawson brings up a solid point saying the college basketball season just started. Let's see who will be number 1 after March 2025. I think that part plays into it as well. I think they got to get their eyes on some of these guys. And I think when they see some of these players play, I think decisions will be made, not just by the Bulls, but just by other teams.
Watching some of the prospects from the 25 draft class get their games in late fall, early winter could have an impact on what the Bulls front office does?
I think on any front office, it can have that impact.
I think that's giving them too much credit.
I feel that for any front office, when you sit there and you watch that talent happen and you just see somebody completely undeniable out there on the floor.
I'm sorry, did they not know who Victor Wembanyama was when they were prioritizing a play-in tournament experience?
I think.
Don't give me that crap. Don't give me that crap.
Victor Wembanyama.
A double
shout out. And you
I
knew they
think-
wasn't getting him because of DeMar DeRozan being there. So, no, they're not going to prioritize that. So, get back with that crap. They're not going to do it there. But now you can prioritize it because of who you have on your team and who you're trying to get rid of. Now you can prioritize that crap. It's a different thing now. Then they were actually still, with Caruso and all them, they felt like they could do something. Did we agree with it? No. But they felt like they could.
I don't know. I don't know if watching Cooper Flagg put up, buckets for his one-and-done Duke season is going to be more enticing for the Bulls front office to pivot course or maybe complete a trade that they're on the fence about when that dangling carrot of the play-in tournament is staring them in the face. That dangling carrot. That dangling, let's get butts in the seats for a play-in. Hey, remember that Bulls-Hawks play-in game?
Here
at
he
the
goes.
UC at that was fun.
Here he comes.
Here's the carrot. Here's the carrot. Hey, what about Cooper Flagg? That's a different carrot. That's a carrot that could actually lead to your organization being respected across the NBA again.
Go get him, Matt.
Screw that carrot. This carrot's here and it's now. This carrot's here and it's now, and it's made of dollars. My blood pressure is way too high for a non-game night.
Yeah, seriously, like
the diehards did it to me asking these questions.
Don't blame them for what you already are.
I know.
Like, you ain't gonna blame them for who you are.
That's fair.
All right, come on, stop that.
Speaking of which, PDAMS92 has a prediction, and it kind of circles back to what we were discussing earlier. His prediction was Io earns a starting spot and never looks back. I'm now even more convinced this will happen sooner rather than later. We were just discussing the whole Io closing games not Giddey thing. And Goat's conversation about, hey, is this the starting point guard money in the NBA right now? Or is this the closing point guard money in the NBA right now?
That's a bar.
The Io Giddey thing is something we were talking about after their first preseason game.
Yeah, seriously. Like I was like, and that was the other thing about giving this dude this money. I'm like, again, I've yet to see the separation from a Kobe White or from an Io DeSumo when we're talking, because Will's like, that's top 15 to 20 point guard money that we're talking about right there. And my thing is, I think we have a top 15 to 20 point guard here already. So I need to see that separation. And it gets even closer when the coach says, come sit next to me during the money time. This is money time, dog. You want your money and you on the bench during money time? It's a problem, dog. It's a problem. It's an issue.
Anything to add, Goat?
No further comments.
Okay, moving on. Shout out to our guy, French Bulls fan. What up, Clem, who said, I wrote a season preview where I said defense would be so poor we would concede 120 a game. Here we are.
Flex on to you, Clem.
Wow, let's see here. Let's go to the standings, go to the math. Bulls are conceding 120.2 points per game.
Let's go, girl!
Prediction spot on for our guy Clem through 11 games.
And Clem will be here soon.
He's coming.
He's coming soon. I told him to come on over.
Coming around the
come
mountain.
Come around here. Come on, have a seat with us here as well. He said absolutely. I'm very excited to see him, man.
I love that. Will the Bulls defense improve from allowing over 120 points per game this season?
Yeah.
I actually think there's more room for downside. I mean, right now,
Whoa, that's not like you, Will.
We did touch on their opponent's poor 3-point shooting.
yeah, exactly right. They're giving up a ton of layups. They're giving up over 60 points in the paint per game.
He hates to tell you that.
Their defensive rating is 114.5. That's 19th in the league.
Woo.
I mean, I was expecting them to be bottom 5. Like, I think they could definitely get worse.
Awesome. I mean, I
Awesome.
think it's very possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Last
Wednesday.
one.
I'm saying next Wednesday. He in the house.
Hey, let's go.
We'll see you
Let's
soon,
go.
sir. We'll see you soon.
Another one of our diehards, our guy Matt of the C-Red UK duo of Matt and Neil.
Hey, shout out.
Said in Discord earlier today, we did bold predictions on our pod. Of course you did. I think Dave, you and I were along there with them for part of those. One of Matt's was Dalen Terry will get more minutes and be a more valuable asset than Modest Buzelis. So far seems to be playing out that way. One of those other numbers that Goat was crunching in that column we were talking about in the front half of today's show had to do with Modest minutes. Is Dalen getting more minutes out of the gate than Modest Buzelis? I would guess yes. I know
seems like
Modest
a fair
is
guess.
like barely anything. What did you say? Like 8 minutes a game? Not even.
Yeah, he's just over 8. But that was before last night.
Dalen is at 13
Yeah.
minutes per game in his 11 contests so far.
Mm-hmm.
Modest is at 8.1.
There you go. We've seen Billy kind of flip around. Dalen, Julian, Modest. Who's checking in when? Is Modest getting real minutes, or is he just getting that short stint in the first quarter like you were talking about in postgame last night, Dave? I think we all were preparing for Modest being a bit of a raw product, but knowing what the goals of this season were, being okay with him being a raw product. Yeah. I think that where Bulls fans were, I think some Bulls fans at least drew the line was, don't talk to us about sending him down to the G League.
Bruh.
If it works out in the schedule of, hey, they're getting in a workout or a scrimmage or a game in the gaps of the Bulls, maybe the Bulls are home for a week or whatever.
Sure.
Send him down.
Fine.
Let him get some run. Bring him back up. Anything beyond that, like, I get that there might not out of the gate for him be a significant role in the rotation because Billy's got talented guys.
He does.
He doesn't have a championship roster, but he's got guys that are more talented and more NBA ready than Modest is right now.
Yeah.
As a rookie, that's fine. But if you recall, my bold prediction when we did our season predictions episode, Modest is going to end up starting 20 games this season. I don't know how. I don't know when. And it might not be pretty, but he's going to start.
Somehow.
He's going to start.
Some way.
I thought you were saying it might not be soon, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, no. I think certain things have to happen for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
certain
just saying,
things have to go down.
Let's keep our eye on the prize. In the meantime, I think you can say that Dalen Terry has given more meaningful minutes than Modest. I don't think there's any debating that.
I want to see the dangling carrot. Like keep my eyes on the dangling carrot.
That's not my prize.
Oh man, I know it's theirs. Yes,
dangling carrot called the playing tournament. Oh, what about the NBA Cup? What if we won one of those over here? What about this carrot and that carrot?
You don't want the cup, Matt? You don't want the mid-season cup?
I don't give a damn about the cup. I don't give a damn about the cup.
The carrot.
The cup is made up and it's dumb. I care about those. That Larry O'Brien right there on our coffee table.
I do care about those.
I mean, that one's a replica. It's a very pretty shiny replica.
It is.
I care about the real ones.
Yeah.
You know those things the Bulls have 6 of?
I do.
And haven't sniffed in a quarter century since? Yeah, those.
Well, they had a whiff 2011, but it was
a brief whiff.
A brief whiff. Ooh, someone's cooking. Get out of the kitchen. That's what we heard.
Oh, God. We do need more likes before we get out of here. Also need to give you a quick reminder. Hey, thanks to everybody who gave us some fun stuff to talk about in that Die Hard Discord today. That could have been you out there. Die Hard Bulls fan who is not yet a CHGO Die Hard official member. Could have been you. Could be you next time. You could also, while you're doing it, get yourself a free shirt, anyone you want, from that ALLCITY merch locker, and then 20% off every time you shop after that. You could also get the very best when it comes to the content we have from our credentialed journalists and reporters here, including Willie Gottlieb, including what he wrote about, key numbers and figures, stats, trends, and etc. that we broke down on today's show. And there are more we didn't get to.
Yeah.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Saving some for the diehards only.
Shout out.
We are back tomorrow. Bulls at the Garden.
Yeah.
Historic basketball mecca. Taking on the Knicks, who have had a sluggish start to their season. We'll see what we look like. We'll see what the Bulls look like out there. It's a 6:30 Central Time tip-off. 6 p.m. live pregame. We will be here. In the meantime, read GOAT stuff, allchgo.com. Will_Gottlieb is where you can find him. Perfectly coiffed as always. Big Dave is at BAW. BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out and thanks, as always, to the queen of the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy, our producer.
I have one thing I want to add today.
Please do.
After the show, stay on the CHGO YouTube page.
Okay.
Don't do that.
You got a carrot? You got a carrot for the Bulls?
I have a carrot.
Got a carrot.
I have a carrot. Go up, just scroll up just a little bit to the Chicago Sky show that we did today. I was on that show today. It went well.
Flex.
No, stop that.
Yeah.
But, get all the info on the Sky's new head coach that was introduced today. If you're here, you're a Chicago basketball fan, so give that a watch when we're done here today.
You on there talking about it, Katie?
Absolutely.
You on there having a discussion? Was that a yes? Oh.
I'm sorry, I was trying to read a comment. Yes.
All right, right on. She knows her stuff, man.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes, indeed.
She knows her stuff, though.
Yeah, go watch that CHGO Sky episode.
And also,
85 Cole Komet Fresh episode tonight. What time? 7 p.m. Central on the 85 with Cole Kmet, which has its own channel attached to that CHGO family of channels on its YouTube. You can find it under like the related channels, CHGO Sports YouTube channel homepage. I wonder, very curious. Hey, he finally got like a couple of targets in that game.
Yeah.
In the second half.
Must have been nice.
What the heck? I'm fascinated to see what Cole Kmet has to say.
And obviously the new offensive coordinator. Brand new one in there, man. Because Shane Waldron's ass is
Yeah.
I know. Don't get me to yelling, all right? I'm chilling. We're about to get out of here.
I hope that rotten black and shriveled carrot is already out of town.
What is with you and carrots today?
I don't know.
What's going on?
The funny thing is he won't eat any carrots.
Right. Like,
the funny thing.
Mr. No Vegetables
He won't
over
touch
here.
a vegetable.
Yeah.
Only when it's in
Why
jar.
do you think I have such a negative mental attachment to the concept of a dangling carrot?
Didn't say dangling bacon. You wouldn't say that.
Now that I would go for.
Like, ooh.
If I described the play-in tournament from a Bulls fan's perspective as dangling bacon, I would be like, yeah, give me that bacon. I don't want it. That's why it's a carrot.
Oh, yes.
Katie, bring her headset over there. We gotta go. Check out the new episode of the 85 with Cole Kmet dropping tonight in less than a half hour. Keep it right here. And yes, also go give that watch. The newest episode of CHGO Sky breaking down the hiring of their new head coach.
Yeah.
We will talk to you tomorrow, 6 p.m. live pregame. Till then, T-Rip, be good.
Peace.
Bow. Bow, bow, bow.
We all silly like the mayor.